we can start to welcome our guests, AMJAD, NASSAR, who will be our main guest today. I have seen Norma and Christian's name from Mexico. I see Cardoso from Brazil. Joseph. Then there are students who are in the room, and some of our students are in Rome because they are engaged in a double degree agreement between Sophia and the European University of Rome, which allows them to also obtain a degree recognized by the Italian government. And then I see, of course, we welcome Araceli, which is, I don't know the exact pronunciation, which is providing us the translation into Portuguese. This is a novelty. It has been their initiative. Yesterday, they felt ready, and so they proposed to do this. And so what we will say today can reach a group of Brazilians who are connected to the economic communion. We have our students, I see Godric Azombu, students who have never been able to reach Sophia, to reach Italy because of visa problems. Yeah, but they have been constantly engaged online to attend our courses and to go on with the degree program. We are waiting for starting the live stream. Yeah, the streaming. Have I forgot someone? Veronica from Brazil too, right? Sí. You still cooperate with AMPECOM?
Sí.
Which is, for those who don't know, which is the Association of Economy of Communion for the country of Brazil. Hi, Fernandel, whom I see there in Rome.
Also Joseph from Rome. What's going on? Okay, it seems that the streaming is already on, so I guess we can start. Allora, you switch to English, sorry. My name is Julio Cesar. I'm a Brazilian student here in Sophia. I'm from the first year of the economics and management course here. We are all from the first year on the room here. And Benedetto is our teacher of the discipline of social, civil, and communion enterprises. And so we had this initiative of making a seminar, 3 seminars about economy of communion, and it's several initiatives. And we find it also natural to open this window for this wider network of the economy of communion community. So this is the first one of the 3 webinars. Today we have a chat with AMJAD NASSAR, which will be presented later by Genevieve. And this webinar is also being streamed on YouTube and is having a Portuguese translation made by Araceli from Ampecom. So now I'll leave the floor to Genevieve that will present us the guests. Before that,
sorry, before entering into the core of today's webinar, just a few words about the meaning of what we try to do. All of you know economy of communion quite well, and you can confirm that we are continuously looking to trying to understand what it means today, what it means 31 years after it was started. And I would say it's a continuous challenge to renovate the main intuitions that are behind it. Certainly, what is behind is attention to unity, which is also the inspiration of Sophia. Not surprisingly, both of them take the inspiration from Chiara Lubich, who has devoted her whole life to building, searching for unity in families, among social classes, among religions, among countries, among wealthy people and poor people, among everybody. And this is one of the tasks of the economy of communion. And of course, how can economy of communion contribute? Through its engagement in economic life. Of course, this means clearly, has clear implication on how a company must be managed, which the relationships among the stakeholders and all those who are involved in the life of the company. The second inspiration of the idea of economy of communion is that wealth that is created in an economic organization, an enterprise, is not only for its owners. There are many ways of living this idea, but all of them, in a sense, recognize that wealth that arrives into the hands of one or another person in the economic system is the outcome of rules, which of course economic communion wants to respect, but at the same time recognizes that they just represent a first approximation to what justice would suggest. We all know and listen news concerning people who have accumulated enormous fortunes, so big that they represent a threat to democracy. And of course, this has happened, I hope, in the respect of the law. But this is not enough for being satisfied and considering this a just outcome. And so economy of communion takes this commitment to go beyond the logic that what is legally earned is something that pertains only to its owner, to its those who receive it. And in doing this, of course, the attention is focused on those who need that wealth most. People who live a condition of deprivation in any form. And one of the ways of creating unity or reducing the separation among humans is just to reduce the condition of poverty and destitution that some people suffer. So this has always been one of the main focuses of economy of communion. In which way? The ways can be many, but this is important, and in a way that I would say should mix justice and charity together, but in a way also that doesn't condemn people who are short of wealth, short of resources, that doesn't condemn them to a position simply of receivers, but all efforts must be done within the economy of communion that everybody can play an active role, also of giver. And another characteristic is the attention to culture. And in fact, the economy of communion businesses support various initiatives for developing and spreading a culture consistent with what I said before. In fact, any action that we make is a cultural action, yeah? Because it affects other people, it transmits norms of behavior, and this certainly is very important within any organization, so certain enterprises, universities included. But economy of communion also takes formal initiatives to spread a culture of respect for everybody, of respect for nature. This has become an increasingly important element. And I would say in this day in which Europe is suffering from war, of course, we Europeans must admit that war has never stopped around the world. And here and there, unfortunately, there are many wars ongoing. Now we are especially hit by what is happening in Ukraine. By the way, there are people who participate in economy of communion in both of these countries, as it happens around the world in many countries that are somehow involved in conflicts. And peace is one of the crucial elements, because it is just through how we live economic relationships, how we share wealth, how we give opportunities to everybody not to be left out of the economic system or the social system. This is a contribution to peace. And for this reason, we suffer for what is happening. And that's it. At the same time, we continue to do what we can for creating the condition for peace starting from below. I think that this can be enough as a first introduction to, which is the main topic of all these seminars, how these ideals of economy of communion can be lived and made newer and newer every day.
Perfect. Thank you, Benedetto. Now I will set the floor to Geneviève, a colleague of mine, also from Syria, from Middle East. Geneviève, I let the floor to you now.
Thank you, JC. Good afternoon, everybody. Today, we will welcome our guest, Mr. AMJAD NASSAR from Jordan. He is in mechanical engineering. He is a managing concept or managing partner in green concept engineering for the engineering consulting. He is now in United Arab Emirates and lead this company as a partner. And we will know from him more about his company. Welcome, Mr. AMJAD.
Thank you, Genevieve, and thank you, Benedetto and Julio. It's a pleasure to be with you. A first introduction about myself and my company. As you have said, Genevieve, I'm from Jordan, but living here in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, since more than 30 years. After graduation from the university, I started my career here in a company. I'm a mechanical engineer. I work into design of mechanical services. And once I came to Dubai, I started working in a consulting office for the design of electromechanical services for the buildings. I'll explain about that little after a while. And after some time, after a few years, or not really few years, I spent maybe 20 years. And after that, I decided to start my own company. So in 2012, I started the company Green Concept Engineering Consultants. And we picked the name Green so that our design will be green, sustainable, and we do sustainable designs into our services. So that's where the name came from there. To explain about our services, we do the design of all building services. Building services means mechanical, electrical, and low current, or ELV. I don't know if you know much about that. The mechanical covers the air conditioning of the building, which you know about it maybe, and the water, drainage, firefighting, gas services, and the electrical services, the lighting, power, the telephone, the telecommunications, and the building management systems, and the security services, and all the IT services. So that we cover all the services, and we do it for all types of buildings, like the residential buildings, the offices, hotels, hospitals, and industrial projects. Just to show you, this is the company logo. It's green with the green colors, and we show and what type of buildings we cover, whether hotels or special projects, and what type of services. Okay, so like if you don't understand much about the services we do, this is like a brief: the HVAC system, the smoke management, cold and hot water. I think maybe that's too much to explain, but this is the building services. Okay. To talk about how I try to implement the principles of economy of communion in the company. First of all, to mention that, to consider that it should be part of my life first. And as a personal life, you know, I am part of the Focular movement. I am we can say, a committed person. So that's why whenever you implement the principles of the movement in the personal life, then of course I try to implement it in the company. And also I am active in the church here in Dubai, in all the church activities, which I will talk about it later on. But that, you know, it makes me feel, and I have the decision to implement whatever possible in the company policy. So what I have done here, you know, I started the company with only 4 persons back in 2012. And by now I have around 35 personnel. I have 20 engineers and 10 drafting and administration. So we grow up, you know, and we are doing much well, hopefully, in the company, I mean, in the country. So the first thing I implemented is to put the family environment in the company. Like, you know, here we are not working like there is employee and a manager, that we are all equal. You know, I don't have to feel boss over the others. I am an engineer like the others, but each one has a role, and we all together, we, you know, work for the benefit of the company, for the success of the company. And that environment, had made a lot of production in the company and the engineers. Each one, he feels that he's working for his own company. It's not anymore like a government body where I just concern about my job. No, here I work for the benefit of the company. And for that, as a starting of the, how we arrange the company room, that all we work in one open environment so that each one can see the other. And we have senior engineers and junior engineers, but they're all in the same area, so that each one feels he's equal to the other. And for my room with the open glass, so that each one can see me. I don't have to do hide anything about the others, but we all work as one group, as with one goal. And here is the drafting area where we do the computer drafting. So that's the company environment, and we have some green colors to feel that we are designing sustainable designs. So what I have done so that each one can also feel that he's benefiting from the company, so that he will feel he's part of this family. First of all is the conduct. How do we treat each other? Here in this country, we come from different countries, different nationalities, different religions. So we have, I have around 6 nationalities, and we have also the 3 religions. We have the majority of Muslims. I am Christian. We have Hindu. So the important rule here is that to respect the other and apply the golden rule of the Focal movement, but of course telling them it indirectly because they are not part of the movement. And they all, implemented respecting the others. How do we respect the others? First of all, whenever there's any of the religious, feast, that we greet the others, and we respect the habits of different cultures. And also, as a company, we used to make a monthly lunch, business lunch in the company, so that we feel we are all as one family. And also, every year, we do a party with the families of the staff, so that they feel they are committed to the same company and they feel part of it. And that has created, a good environment to have a good working environment. Also, on the financial side, of course, you work for the company. We expect some hard work whenever we need it, so the company has to compensate for that. So first of all, whenever I feel anyone is putting extra effort, I allow for him a bonus on that month. And also at the end of the year, whatever profit we have, I give certain bonus to the staff depending on their commitment to the company and their workload. So this way they feel they are earning something other than what their normal salary. More than that, some of the staff, by the way, we pay salaries, more than the average of in the country, and which sometimes, people, they will look at it, you may pay less, but no, I appreciate the efforts of the staff. And that's, as I said, that gives them the enthusiasm to work, for the benefit of the company. Also, sometimes, some of the staff, if they have any financial issue where they need a loan and so that they can assist their family back home, we give loans without any interest and at a very long term, so that they can feel the company assist them, but at the same time they have to pay back as easy as possible, as easy as they can afford. And that gives them some comfort, and happiness in working in the company. Also, something to mention during the COVID period, where there was much less work, and a lot of companies, they had to lay off staff and or at least reduce the salaries to half the salaries, or even maybe give open leave. For us, I decided not to do that. Since the workload was much less, so we don't have enough income. So we reduced the salaries by only a minimum percentage, 25 to 30%. And we had to pay from the company available capital to cover the salaries of the staff, because we have to keep them living here. The expenses are high, and I didn't want to lose any of our staff because it's part of the big family, and they have to support their families back home or even who are staying here. So we managed to overcome this period until the situation became better, and we reinstated the salaries since almost 1 year. And that was also a big, let's say, advantage and a feel of happiness by the staff that we kept them here, and we managed to overcome the situation, and they could survive. And that made them feel they are really in a company which appreciate them.
AMJAD,
Yes.
may I ask a quick question regarding this COVID period on the company?
Yeah.
I'm just curious. How was the decision to make to retain your employees in a moment of financial uncertainty? All of them accepted your decisions? Were there like any debates? Because they have to give up a little bit of their salaries, right? How was this process?
Yeah. The good thing here, since we have this family environment, so all of them, they want to take care of the others, though I could, lay off some of the unnecessarily staff, but we decided, no, we will keep all. And all of them were happy to keep all and have the same reduction of salary, though some of them, they could do effort more than the other based on the requirement of the design. So from the concept of feeling that we are all as one group, one family, they all accepted that, and they were even happy that the reduction of salary was minimum. Some other companies, they had reduced more than 50% of the salary, and some other companies, they laid off staff or they gave them open leave, unpaid leave. But we decided not to do that. So with a minimum reduction of salary, that was the best among all the other companies. I hope I answered your question.
Can I also ask something? Yeah. In an occasion, you mentioned that being laid off can have nasty consequences in a country like United Arab Emirates, because workers could lose the residence permit.
Correct.
Yeah. So, because what do usually companies do in these cases? They tend to keep the pay of the workers that they consider most important, those they want to promote, etc., and instead tend to lay off some of the others, right?
True. The companies, to reduce their expenses, they always lay off the unnecessarily staff and try to minimize the number of engineers, so that because the workload has reduced, so maybe one engineer can do the work which 3 or 4 used to do it. And some companies, to be reasonable or on a normal practice, they will do that. But for us, we decided I decided to compensate for that, and consider from whatever capital we have to compensate for the salaries, though the income was low, but we had to pay whatever possible for them to keep them surviving. And that's based on the concept of keeping the staff, so that we know that later on the situation will become better, and I don't have to lose those staff who are you know, they have the feeling they are part of one big family. It's not like any engineer or any employee who can be laid off and you can bring another one. So they feel committed to this company. So we took that decision.
Genevieve, do you have
Yes,
any question
yes.
there?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Mr. Amjad, I'm so curious about if there is any female in the staff, and if there is, should you tell us about any rights you have for the female staff?
Yeah, good question. Generally, you know, for our type of field, mostly male, they dominated engineers. There are female engineers, but well, I didn't have the chance to, you know, employ ladies. If they will be there, maybe in the future. I have only the secretary. Let me see if I can show you from. Yeah, I'll show you the picture of our staff. So this is from one of the annual parties we have done recently at the end of or during Ramadan month, the fasting month of the Muslims. We do the dinner party. So we are all male, but we have the secretary, she's female. And of course, we respect, you know, all kind of treatment for the others. And here, you know, all the staff, they consider her as a sister to them, you know. It's not just an employee. And you can feel this from the same concept of being, you know, a family, then all members are brothers and sisters. And this way, this kind of respect is always there. You can see with the pictures, the smile they have on their face. Okay, it's not just to show that we are the best company, but that's what's happening.
Amjad, and how type of problems or challenges that you have to face having such a diverse group when we look at religion or religious practices? Do you have an example of conflict that emerged that you have to I don't know, work on? How do you face?
No, we didn't have any kind of conflict because since we have those principles of respecting the others, and that started from me. Starting, you know, respecting their habits and their, you know, religious celebrations, greeting them on their religious days, and even giving them the chance to take a day off during their celebrations. So that, you know, gave this type of respect, which we didn't have at any time, any conflict.
I would like just also to encourage our listeners from YouTube and from Zoom. If you have questions, we have the chat open, so feel free to write your questions there, and we will try to address them in our conversation. Yeah, Genevieve, do you have some other questions, or you want?
Yes, maybe, but yes, but maybe I could return back to the first things when we try to, for example, recruit the staff. How is the condition you have to choose well, and you are sure to not refuse, for example, or give them a bad feedback? No, we will not accept, because, you know, if you try to have interview with anyone, you should put many conditions, and if there is no fit to this condition, so he will get a refuse or something. So in order, how you can work with this situation?
Now, for recruiting a new employee, okay, the first thing we look at his pre-qualification, his experience, where it will fit our requirement. We always, you know, receive a lot of CVs and people looking for jobs. And in order to choose the one which we really need, we give the chance to interview all of them, and then try to pick up the one who fits our requirement, regardless of his religion or his nationality, or his education from which university. So that we keep it aside, though some companies they may look at that, but for us, we look and I look always at his qualification and experience. Now, sometimes, to be frank with you, we had into a situation where some people, they came where they were the only one to support the family, and they need a job. So to help them, where I had a position of only one engineer who can fit into that location, but I have done it 2 times where I took 2 so that we can give an assistant for that engineer so that he can get some income to support his family, and waiting for another chance where there could be another project where we need another engineer. So this way he will be there, and we will cover his expenses until the other project will open. So this way we give a chance for him to support his family and get some experience, and later on we can put him in another project where we can get income to cover his salary. And that happened 2 times, and maybe that's we can say it's a God grace, where you do something good, so he give us something in return.
While you were answering, Amjad, we got our little comment here from Norma and Christian in the Zoom. So they say, greetings all. Please, Amjad, tell us about how your life as a whole was transformed when you walked into this path of EOC. You more or less told us that you didn't have to change so much because this was already inside of you, but can you give us some comments about that?
Yeah. Now, talking about my personal life, which that affects the way how we work in the company, since I am part of the folklore movement and try to apply always the golden rule, and also part of the church where I am also a catechist, assisting in the catechism for the children in the church. And more than that, I'm into some volunteer groups where we do some volunteer work for the needy people. And we do, for example, I'm in a group where we do birthday parties for some needy children, and also some laborers in the labor camps where they don't have the chance to for someone to look after them. So that builds in me that whenever we do something good for the others, you get something back in return. That to do those kind of volunteer work, especially for those in the labor camps, bring them gifts and food, and try to make some games for them to let them feel that their life is not only for work. There could be others who take care of them. Just to mention here, laborers, who come from some Asian countries like India and Pakistan. They come alone, and they support their families, and they work, very hard. So their life is mostly work. So to do something good for them, and to see the smile on their face, that gives happiness in my heart, and that gives me enthusiasm to continue, trying to apply the principles of economy of communion, and also the golden rule. So that whenever we do something outside in the personal life, that will give a help to apply it also at work. Just to show some photos for that, it's not like to show off, but it's good to see, how those things reflects on the from personal life to the work life. See, this some photos for parties we have done at labor camp, and giving gifts and cake and games for the laborers. It makes them really happy and gives back happiness in our life. And in this photo, it's a birthday for some families, kids, where they don't afford to have parties for their kids. So, and even distributing gifts at Christmas time for some needy families. By the way, I play guitar in my free time. So, that reflects on how you could do it at work and in the work life.
Thank you, Amjad. I would like, well, a bunch of questions popped up here on Zoom. But since I saw a familiar face on one of the photos, maybe this is a good opportunity to introduce Abdullah. Genevieve, do you want to present a little bit our colleague here from the doctorate degree?
Yes. Can I speak Arabic for Amjad?
طبعا
Introduce Abdullah.
لازم
Hello, Abdullah.
هلا حبيبي
So Abdullah, our colleague from Sophia, he's just prepared the doctorato, doctor, and also he supports us too much during our journey here in Sophia, and we are so proud of him as a big brother, really. And I will leave the floor for him. Maybe he can talk more. Thank you, Abdullah.
Yeah, also, just to connect, sorry, Abdullah. So Abdullah is also part of the Economy of Communion in Dubai, right? He's a coordinator of the Economy of Communion.
Yes.
And it was one of the faces that we saw in one of the photos from AMJAD. So yeah, Abdullah, could you just present a little bit of yourself? Also, AMJAD, if you have some specific thing to say that maybe can provoke us to the discussion.
And so you give us an idea of what else happens inspired by the economy of communion in that part of the world. In fact, I think that there have been few occasions in which the international network of economy of communion has had messages, information, witnesses from the Gulf. So this is a good opportunity.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfectly.
Okay. Yes, Benedetto, you're right. This is a special case, actually, because the economy of communion, as you guys know very well, it uses to be more developed where in Catholic countries, I mean where the majority of the population are Catholic, but not only there. Of course, there are also in many other areas of the world. We have it in Russia. We have it in South Korea and other countries as well. Yeah. So yeah, I am the coordinator of the Economy of Communion and the Economy of Francesco. But now let's talk about the Economy of Communion. I practiced and applied the principles of the Economy of Communion, same as my brother and very good friend Amjad, for 20 years as a general manager, okay, in a factory. And now I am pursuing a PhD in economics and management with my young nephews or sons and daughters, because that's the reality. Big brother is too much. So thanks a lot. I want to thank you very much for whatever I learned from you, every single day. But I want to stick to the point. Now, to stick to the point, the economy of communion, I'm still the coordinator of the economy of communion of the UAE. And I would say that this is really a unique case. It's really unique because I'm in constant contact, okay? Now we are 54 companies, okay, whose owners are applying the principles of the economy of communion and also social and civil economy. I mean, the difference are not so big. The point is that the person is really at the center of the company, really, not just by talking, in practice, and every single day. And of course, the environment. The interesting thing is that I found, for example, the social doctrine of the church, which is at the end is also at the base of the economy of communion. Not only, but it's a big part in many other faiths, many other cultural groups and linguistical groups and nationalities. So each of them, each businessman is inspired by his own religion, by his own thoughts. Some of them are not religious. They just believe in the universal principle of love, peace, human rights, okay, and fairness and freedom in doing business. So it's the fact that we are a so diverse community, but we really at the end see that we do the same things. In practice, we do the same things, but what motivates us is different. If you are a Hindu, or if you are a Sikh, or if you are a Muslim, or if you are a Jew, or if you are a Christian, you can be Catholic, you can be evangelical, you can be atheist. I mean, we have a lot of cases, but we really found in this diversity something which is a core, and we feel it. Like we feel that we are really, we feel the brotherhood of man. The brotherhood of man, a company which has been set from the foundation, from the beginning, to serve for a purpose, to serve the person, the people, the environment, and also to support, to create something which is very important. It's called community. So sharing life together is not enough just to do good things. A company, sorry, that's it. That's it.
I want to take advantage of the things you said, because it's a very particular environment given all the diversity. So can you give us some examples of activities that UC does there in the Gulf, as Benedetto said?
Yes. I'll just give. I'll just say two quick things. I'll give one example, and I'll say one small but quick thing. I'm not going to talk about companies who are similar to AMJAD practices or my previous practices. Okay. First of all, what I wanted to say is that there is a belief that the economy, and which is true, we have to say that statistically is true. The economy of communion, it works. It's very resilient, especially during harsh times. The economy of communion, and this is proven by economists, many economists. It's more resilient to economical crisis compared to the capitalist companies, okay? Because of the sense of community. So you resist more, right? And it's not, but still, it's a minority. It's, I don't know exactly how much is the percentage, but maybe it's 2%, 3%, 4%, I don't know. But it's still a minority. We need to grow it. We need to work. We have a lot of things to do. This is the first thing that I want to say. But don't think that all companies that practice economy of communion are small, or some of them medium. We have also multinationals. Here in the UAE, we have several multinationals who really practice, local multinationals which really practice the economy of communion at, you can imagine at which level. So this is the first thing to do. So just we keep it in mind that we can make an economy of communion can be done even if you are a multinational. You don't have to be a niche. Second thing, one simple practical example. There is in fact, this is guy, he built a multinational, okay? He's Sikh. And he came from India. He was poor. He was poor. And he built an empire in so many different fields, okay? Now, I'm not going to say all the fields, but he's in 10 different fields at least. He built a gurdwara. What is the gurdwara? The gurdwara is the temple of the Sikh. Sikhism is a religion mainly diffused in India, and also there is a minority in Pakistan. It's like a church for a Christian. So what he did, he built this temple, okay, very beautiful temple, and every single day, volunteers, it's open to everyone. So whatever religion you are, okay, you can go inside while they are praying. The Sikhs are praying, you can go inside, you're free. Everybody's welcome. It's your house. You just have to respect them. You're free. Second thing, every single day, they distribute 5,000 very fresh and high quality meals every single day to taxi drivers and to workers in the construction industry, which are the poorest of the ladder, of the pyramid, okay? And for them, it's very important, because if they don't eat there, they don't eat. There's no chance. And also to those who lost the job. So it's not that he's offering a free meal. He's offering the only meal that they can have twice a day, and is full back like that. And these people, when they have time, when they can, they are so happy that they also volunteer. You go there, you have free food, you also clean, help, serve the others, prepare the food, whatever religion you observe. So there is a sense of community, solidarity between humans. That's it.
Thank you so much, Abdullah. We can clearly see the theoretical and practical things that you managed to say when you bring your experience to us. Can we go a little bit to the questions now from our audience, our large audience? So it seems there's an interesting question here from Boris. So he wrote here, AMJAD, just a step back. I'm a bit curious about the word green containing the name of the company. Being an EOC, economic community company, how precisely do you manage to respect the environment in a complex field that is a technical engineering, especially at a time when many companies claim to be green without really being? So it's called also greenwashing. So what is your opinion about this, Amjad?
Yeah. Now, the name of the company Green means we design sustainable services. And what does it mean? Like, we could, design services without, oversizing the equipment, the capacities, and just do it without taking care of the client interest, the economy of the building. So what we do the design so that the client makes the most benefit of the project to be economical design, and at the same time giving him the best services he needs, and also give him all options where he can save energy and at the long run. So we try to explain to him all the benefits of the systems we are proposing. We give him options, and we tell him which system will be most economic for his building, and that makes him happy that we give him the best with the most economical design.
So it's more centered in energy efficiency, right?
Energy efficiency, correct. Now, to talk about, also green in terms of green environment, how to apply it, in an office, we try to minimize the paperwork by doing all designs on computer and drafting on computer and using emails for communication. But still, we still need some paperwork, but we minimize it. And the philosophy of green environment, we try to apply it outside also, related to water or to other things, temperature, here in our design. That's also something good, that we always advise the client to design, to recommend for them the room temperature, which is the one 24 degrees, which is according to the standards, and not to go very low temperatures, which is will go for higher energy. But also, we apply it outside in our homes, that we don't have to just leave the air conditioning on when you are not using it. Okay, how to explain that? Sometimes at home or even at hotels, we do philosophy that if the guest is in the room, he has to maintain the 24 degrees, which is the comfort temperature. But whenever the guest is outside, we do the control that we raise the temperature to 27 or 28 degrees, so they save energy for the client, and at the same time we don't have to switch off the unit, so which may affect the furniture or the others. So we always give methods of going green and give energy saving for clients.
Thank you, Amjad. Also, there are some questions from our colleagues in Aula Studio. And there's Julia asking you, what are the biggest challenges that you have met during this path?
Okay. Now, some of the challenges, let me tell you about how do we deal with our clients. Now, to be nice to clients and always maintain the relation, try to be flexible so that, the client will build the trust in us and always give us projects. Sometimes it has a challenge that it may let us lose in some projects. In our projects, if we do a design, we get a certain amount of money from the client, so it will pay for the salaries of the staff and for the company. So for that amount, where we estimate it, it will be based on a certain time and on certain services to be designed. But some clients, during the design period, they do some changes and they want us to do into the design. So some offices or companies, they refuse to do that without adding extra money on that, or maybe stop the project. But for us, we are flexible, and we accept that from the client, telling them, okay, this is, it will take more time, but we will accept it this time, so that, later on in the future, we should get the whole scope from you, so we can base our fees on that. So they, accept it, and the first project we have faced in my hotel project or another building, some projects we had to lose in the fees we have taken from the client, but it gave us something good, an advantage for the future projects, because the client, he liked us, and he gave us another project where it has compensated for the losses we have suffered in that previous project.
Yeah,
I don't know if it explains.
Perfect, perfect. I want to add something to the question, Amjad.
Yeah.
When you have to compete with other companies that might not have the same values that you have, you can find yourself in a situation where you are competing with more constraints, with more limitations, right? How do you think it's possible to make yourself profitable, and how can you compete with other companies that sometimes don't have the same set of values, or that are open to bribes, for example? How do you think you manage to still be profitable without opening or giving up your values?
To compete, first of all, it's the fees, the price you give for the project or for the services. So we have to give very competitive fees so we can get the job. But at the same time, for the client to accept our fees and consider us rather than the other companies, they look at if we can deliver the project in a certain time. And we have this commitment, to submit on the agreed date, and that sometimes, will make us work harder, and I have to compensate the staff for extra time, overtime to work. But in order to maintain the word that, this date we committed, we will deliver on that date, and where the client will not know that, I had to pay extra for the staff. He knows that I have to deliver on this date. So that for the next project, the client, he knows that, we do a good job and we deliver on time with a reasonable fees. So that will make us in the next project more preferable over the others. Now, the other thing to explain, for also to keep the values in the company, as I said, as we treat and respect the staff to be as one big family, and don't accept any possible bribe, which may happen sometimes with some companies to get a job, which we don't do. And even during the construction of the project, where we have our engineers, they are supervising the installation at site by the contractor. Some of the engineers are exposed to get a bribe, so that they may pass any unspecified material. So for us, here, for all the employees, once they get recruited, we give them the company policy, the good conduct they have to follow, and the code of ethic. So that's important for the reputation of the company, and also for us, if we want to implement the good principles, so that should be also reflected on the engineering, let's say, life, and also on the personal life. So that happened sometime, or it happened 1 or 2 times with one of our engineers, that they were exposed to get something in order to accept unspecified material. where some companies, they will directly terminate that engineer because he has done something wrong. But for me, in order not to damage what he has built or the support he's doing for the family, I give him a warning so that he can adjust and not to affect his situation, because here in this country, if anyone who is terminated, he cannot stay in the country. He has to, if I cancel his residence visa, he has to go back to his back home, which may be a very difficult thing to do, and it will affect the life and the family requirements. So giving a warning, that really worked, with that engineer, because anyone can be exposed to some weak points where he doesn't know. Then after giving him what he has to do, he turned into a really good engineer and respecting the company rules, and that gave an example to all the others, and it has never happened with the other engineers.
It's like a sign of trust, right? You give him a warning, like you're giving a sign that you trust him, that he or she will change.
Yes.
We have one last question. Genevieve, can you read this last question?
Yes, sure. Please, Mr. Amjad, can you answer for this question from Norma? She asked, have you had the experience of spreading the economy of communion outside your company, like clients or competitors or suppliers, etc.? So if you can give us example. Thank you.
It's not easy to do that on a personal level, but what we are trying to do with the yearly meeting, where Abdullah is the coordinator here, and we invite others so that each one he talk about his company, and that could be the chance for them to know how the others they do in their companies, and maybe get the good example so they will do the same. But it's not easy just to go and talk about the company and how we do it to the others. It's not an easy process.
Okay, Amjad. Well, I have a special request from you, if you're okay. This video will also be on YouTube, so maybe future maybe people can see it on the future. And I would like to ask you if you can send a message, if you could send a message to young people that are getting to know economy of communion, that are starting their careers. Do you have a special message for these young entrepreneurs, students that are starting to know economy of communion?
Yes, sure. The best thing to say is that whatever, to apply the golden rule, whatever good you do for the others, then you really expect them to do it for you. And that really happens, in the company, respecting the employees, treating them well. That will give always payback, by doing good job and appreciate the benefit of the company. So starting a new company, you need to look into that because you need the staff to work considering it's their own company, not working as an employee and a manager.
So thanks, Amjad. I think we close to stopping our webinar for today. Thanks to all the participants. I want to remember that next Wednesday, May 18th, we will have another webinar. In this case, we will focus on AMU, Associazione Mondo Unito. This is the non-governmental organization that since makes use of part of the profits collected through the network economy of communion in order to implement programs in favor of people in hardship. This occurs in various parts of the world. The first experiences were in Brazil, where the project that Economic Communion was started, but they are active in other Latin American countries. Recently, they have been engaged with the refugees from Ukraine. And what is also interesting is that over time, they have developed a logic of intervention that is very much in line with the principles of the economy of communion, and also is based on their experience of, I don't know how many, but close to 30 years of activity, because helping is not at all an easy job. Helping people, the economy of communion project sometimes I discovered can be even more difficult than starting and managing companies and finding among these the willingness to share profits. I really think it will be an interesting session. So you are invited with the same format that we are using today. So next Wednesday at 2 o'clock. We will have a third seminar on the 25th, in which case we will focus on small new initiatives, mostly by young people, and we will connect with the preparation of the Pan-African Congress of the Economic Community. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, AMJAD.
Thank you.
AMJAD.
Thank you a lot. Shukran.
Thank you for the active listening of all of our guests.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
It was very interesting.
Thank you, Benedetto. Greetings. Greetings all.